could do it in pen if you want.
So if somebody like talked to you while you're doing this video, they would think you're crazy for talking.
It actually happens. Sometimes people will stop in and say things like, who are you talking to? And that's all one video.
Do that. Video. You good at that? No, I'm not. I'm so bad.
Okay, so here we go. Number one, very important problem because it's a little bit tricky. Remember, these, until we get down to number 23, they're all no calculator. So this is a no calculator problem, and it says find all of the asymptotes. Now, the reason that this is so tricky is because there are actually 3 asymptotes. 2 of them come from the denominator. So your vertical asymptotes, I just factored that. Your vertical asymptotes are -5 and -1. Those will be your vertical asymptotes. Now, you're not being asked to graph this, so you're not doing all that stuff. You're just asked, where are the asymptotes? Those are the vertical ones. Here's the tricky one. What's the horizontal asymptote? 0. The horizontal asymptote is 0 because the power on the bottom is bigger. And when the power on the bottom is bigger, your horizontal asymptote is 0. So, this is going to be a multiple choice question. You would have to have all 3 of those things there to be the correct answer. All right, you got to have your 2 verticals and your horizontal one, which is 0. All right. Do you want to go ahead? We did 2 and 3 yesterday. You want to go ahead and redo them, or you want to get through some other ones we haven't done already? All right, so if we have time, we'll come back. But yesterday we did 2 and 3. So we'll come back to 4. I don't care how you do 4. You've got options, but the first thing you have to do with it is what? Add 3. It doesn't matter how you decide to do the problem. The first thing you have to do is add the 3. Now, pretend that you're sitting down to take the exam. What are you going to do with that? All right, so Kate says I'm going to split it up like I did back in algebra class. I'm going to say 2x minus 4 equals 9, or 2x minus 4 equals -9. That is not the way we have done it, but that will work. That will absolutely work. So 2x equals 13 and x equals 13 halves. 2x equals -5 and x equals -5 halves. So again, that's a multiple choice question, and you got to have both answers.
What's the way that we did it?
The way we did it was, you got to add the 3 regardless.
Did they change the sign?
And then I divide everything by 2, so my problem looks like this. Oops. That's what my problem looks like if I divide everything by 2. Then I put in 2, Sam said change the sign. So I put a 2 right in the middle and count forward 4.5 and backward 4.5. And there are my 2 answers, and that's exactly the same. 13 halves is 6.5, and that's -2.5. It does not matter how you do it. You got to do it one way or the other.
First way will work.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just put a negative on there.
Yes, yes. Because the absolute value can equal 9 or it can equal -9. Because when you take the absolute value, it becomes positive. So what's in there could be a -9 also. Okay? Now, we got a little inequality here to solve. So we're trying to get x by itself, so what do we need to do?
2.
Not yet. I subtract 1 first. So now we have 2x in between -5 and 14. Now we will divide by 2. So x is between -5/2 and 7. Now this is another one of those, it's multiple choice. So you remember, that would be one way of writing it. But so would this, right? That would be another way of writing it. So I don't know which way it's going to be written on the test. Could be written either way. They're both correct. You're matching. Multiple choice. Try to match your answer. So be ready for both notations. All right, let's see what's next. We did one like 6 yesterday. That is a quadratic equation, right? And how do we solve a quadratic equation? You can use the quadratic formula. Will that always work? Yes. So if you don't want to do anything else ever, you don't have to. You can always use the quadratic formula. Find the domain. X cannot be -7. Because what happens if X is -7?
It's a 0.
You get a 0 in the bottom, and you can't have a 0 in the bottom. So X can't be -7. Now again, that could be written like this. Do not dare be confused by that. That means on the number line, I go all the way from -infinity to -7, open dot, and then I go from -infinity or from -7 all the way to infinity. These two things mean exactly the same thing. So if you work out the problem and say, oh, X can't be -7, you got to recognize that's what this means. That's simply interval notation for everything except -7. Okay? All right, 9. We worked on one of these in Flex, but we didn't do one yesterday, so let's take a look at it.
Would this be a multiple choice?
Yep, these are all multiple choice. All the way up to wherever I said the calculator starts. Everything without a calculator is multiple choice.
Oh.
So we're going to find f of g of x. So just even look at the way it's written. That means plug the g function into the f function. So here are your x's. We're going to plug g into that. That's what this means. Plug g into f. So we have x plus 5 squared minus 2x plus 5 plus 3. Now it wasn't this exact problem, but we ended up with something similar to this yesterday. How did we handle it? Foil. This is a foil right here. That's a foil. So we have to multiply x plus 5 times x plus 5. Right? So first, outside, inside, last. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. Now we distribute. You know what's going to happen here. Somebody's going to mess that up, right? What are they going to forget about?
The confidence.
The
They're going to
minus.
forget about the negative, right? So negative 2x minus 10.
Plus 3. You're going to add like terms.
And then we add like terms. So we have x squared plus 8x.
God. No more pin tapping, guys.
Plus 18, I think.
Yep.
And you're done. Don't do anything else. That should match one of the answers. That should match one of the answers that's listed. Graph. Now, this is a multiple choice question, so what you'll have to do is match, you'll have to find the graph that fits, A, B, C, D, or whatever. Find the graph that fits this picture. What shape should this be? A parabola.
Because it's square.
This should be opening down, and this tells me where it's situated. So this has gone left 2 and down 1. So this is a parabola that's left 2 and down 1. Remember, what's inside the parentheses is always the opposite, right? So x plus 2 actually goes backwards, and then minus 1 goes down 1. So there would be the picture that you would be matching. We did a vertex yesterday. Let's do number 12. We'll come back and get those other ones. I just want to make sure we touch base on everything. So we're looking at number 12 now. Number 12 says, write an equation that would show all of this stuff.
Where?
So we're on number 12. So we want to shift it left 2. So that means inside the parentheses, you're going to have x plus 2. A vertical stretch by 3. Now that doesn't mean pick it up 3. That means make it 3 times as tall. So we multiply it by 3. That's how you do vertical stretches, right? And then down 1, that is a shift. So that would be minus 1. So that would be the equation that you would be looking for to match. Stop it. Okay? Consider this picture. On what intervals is it decreasing? Now, this was never a test question, but I don't feel bad including it on the exam. Remember, this is an exam that all Precal students are taking in the school. I don't feel bad about including this because it's so common sense.
-1.
Decreasing means, yeah, we learned it. We just never had a test question over it. Decreasing means going down, right? So as I draw this picture, would you agree that I am decreasing on that part of it?
Yes.
So look at the x values. From -3 to -1, we are decreasing. So that is an interval that we are decreasing on. I'm moving left to right. As I go left to right, my pen goes down. Goes down between here and here. Now, is there any other place that it goes down?
Yes.
It goes down from 1 to 4. So I put my handy dandy little union thing, and I say from 1 to 4. It is decreasing.
For number right now, if it were to be like shrinking the line, what would that look like?
What do you mean, making it shorter?
Yeah, instead of stretching it.
It'd be like a 1/2 or something out here. It'd be half as tall.
Okay.
All right. So there would be your intervals that it is decreasing. So if the question said decreasing, you're looking for parts where it is going down. If it says increasing, you would be looking for parts where it is going up. So increasing would be from here to here, which is from -1 to 1. That's where it's increasing. So that's pretty easy. Number 4. If Find the x-intercepts. At what point does the curve just touch the x-axis? Okay, so we've got this equation. You are not graphing this whole equation. The only thing you're doing is putting the x-intercepts on the axis. I called those the dots. Where do we put our dots? In this problem, where do the dots go? At -1 and at +3.
So that's the answer.
So the answer to question number 1, find the x-intercepts. There they are. Those are the x-intercepts. Now, the second part of the question says, if I were to graph this, someplace it's going to bounce. It's going to bounce wherever we have a square. Remember that?
Yeah.
So the bounce point is going to be this one.
Yeah.
So the first part of the question says, what are the x-intercepts? There they are, -1, 0, 3, 0. The second part of the question says, where does it bounce? It bounces wherever you have a square.
Middle one.
All right.
So would you start at the top and go down, or?
Well, we're answering the questions that are on here. We're not even doing that.
Graphic.
Okay? Remember, we're reviewing. So we're not talking about stuff that's not on here. All right, number 15. Finally did it already. Rewrite in exponent form. Number 16. Rewrite in exponent form. What does ln mean? Log, base E. Loop-de-loo it, kids, and what does it say?
E to the 16 equals
No,
or
what
E
does
to
it
the
say?
X.
E to the x equals 16. There's your exponent
What if you
form.
wrote ln to the x equals 16? Would that just be like half on or something?
It's a multiple choice question. So the answer is e to the x equals 16.
So it's all or nothing.
E to the, but this is easy. We're doing nothing but loop-de-looing this. You've done that a zillion times. All right, we did 17 yesterday. 18. All right, now, Seth, this is an actual sketch now. So I have to figure out what this thing looks like. I have to actually sketch it. So again, what you're going to be doing is sketching it and then finding the sketch multiple choice that fits your picture. So what does this look like? First you're going to factor it. So I look at that, I'll take out an x. And then I notice that I'll have x minus 3, x plus 3.
And you have to plot that.
And I'm going to have 3 dots. Where are my 3 dots going
0,
to be?
3, and -3.
0, 3, and -3. Remember that a plane x always means the origin. So in terms of that other problem we did, those are the x-intercepts. Is this one going to have a bouncing point? No, because why? There's no squares. There's no powers, right? So we're not going to have a bouncing point. So now I just have to connect the dots.
Start down, end up.
What'd you say?
Start down, end up.
Start down, end up. How does he know to start down,
Negative.
end up? It's an odd function. And odd functions start down and end up every time. So we're going to start down here, come up, come down, there we go. So you will look on your paper, A, B, C, D, E, and find the choice that closest matches that. Okay? Easy. All right, 19, we did that yesterday. 20, we did it yesterday. Oh, 21. Property. There is one property question on the exam. So look at this one. Anybody have any idea what property that is?
Commutative.
This one is commutative because what changed? The order. On one side it says UVW, and on the other side it says VUW. When the order changes, it is commutative. Associative will look like this. u plus v plus w equals u plus v plus w. That would be associative. Do you see the difference between what's up here and what's on the paper? This is associative because all you've done is reassociate. You've left them in the same order, you just grouped them differently. On the paper is commutative. Got it? All right, then 22, the last no calculator. All right, how do we do this?
Gotta get a common denominator.
Well, so first we will factor.
That's right, we like that.
And remember our little thing we noticed, usually on these problems, what happens?
Those two denominators equal.
These two are gonna be the factors of that.
Then you multiply it by everything by each of the different.
Exactly, so we're gonna multiply everything by x plus 1, x minus 2. And things should start canceling out, right?
Why don't you multiply by the last one too? Because that's what it is.
What do you mean? I multiplied everything by x plus 1, x minus 2. All right, so the x plus 1's cancel here. The x minus 2's cancel here. Everything cancels there.
So it'd be x squared minus 2x plus 3x plus 3 equals 5. Then add your like terms. So x squared plus 1 plus x plus 3 equals 5. And then you minus 3, which would be 2.
Yeah, just move that over. All right. So that factors. Remember, you could use the quadratic formula if you wanted to. If you're not comfortable factoring. So x equals -2 or 1. These are the ones that sometimes come out extraneous. Not this time though, because what would be a bad answer here? -1? I didn't get -1. A bad answer here would be 2. I didn't get 2. So I'm good. I'm fine. But these are the ones sometimes you do get extraneous roots for them. All right, so you need to check that. All right, now we got some calculator problems. Here we go, number 23.
Do we have a formula sheet for the
No, you don't need a formula sheet.
Well, for the, do we have to memorize the second?
You should have memorized them the first time. Good. All right, so here we go. This is, I know we did the first part of this yesterday, but we didn't do the second, so we're gonna do the whole thing. Here we go. List the possible rational roots. This is the first free response question. So here we go. How do we do the PRRs?
27.
Factors of 27. There are the factors of 27, and what do I have to be sure not to forget? Plus or minus, that's half off. You do not want to lose those easy points.
Can you bring over 3 too?
All right. Then we got to put all that over something.
3.
1 and 3. That is exactly right. Now you do not need to have both plus or minuses. One of them will do. 2 of them are fine. But you have to have 1 plus or minus in there for sure. So it's factors of the last over factors of the first. Okay? All right. Now, find the solutions algebraically. So that means show your work. Find the solutions. What'd you say, Sam? Synthetic division. That's one option. And when you go to do synthetic division, the numbers that go in the box here come from that list, right? So like 1 or 3 or something like that. Something I don't want you to forget about though is, that will work and you can do it. But sometimes we can factor by grouping.
Yeah.
And that goes a whole lot quicker. So when I look at this, you see how we have some matches here? I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna take a 3x squared out of the first two. What would that leave me with? X minus 1. Now what do you think I'm gonna take out of the last two? Positive 27. And that'll leave me with x minus 1.
Those cross? No.
Well, they don't cross out, but they're common, so I write them down. Once, x minus 1. And then I group together 3x squared plus 27. Now your job is to solve this. Can you already tell me what one of the answers is? X equals 1. One of your answers is 1. Now what about 3x squared plus 27? What?
X plus 3x minus 3.
What? Well, it doesn't really factor. I could divide everything by 3, and it says x squared plus 9. That does not factor. X squared minus 9 factors. But what I need to do here is say x squared equals negative 9. You see that? So what does x equal? Plus or minus 3i. So your answers are 1 and plus or minus 3i. It's a hard problem. Free response. Partial credit.
Yes.
So certainly, if you tried to do some synthetic division here, you would get a little bit of partial credit because that is a good way to start. That's a good step. It's
So you
better
get
to
like
factor.
a 2 out of 6.
I don't know. You know how I like my minus 7/8 and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I do.
All right, number 24. I think we did this yesterday, but let's do it again. Maybe we didn't. How do we solve this? ln both sides. We're ln'ing because it has an e, and that will cancel. So 3x plus 1 equals ln 10. Now I'm going to solve for x, so I'll subtract 1, and I'll divide by 3. Now, if you're going to type that in,
You gotta do equals and divided by.
yeah, you got to do equals and then divided by 2. That's exactly right. Thank you. So we got to do ln 10. Jack, you wait. All right. ln 10. Close parentheses, subtract 1, hit equals, and then divided by 3. So when you type that in, make sure you are getting 0.4342. Make sure that's what you get when you type it in. Number 25. Come on, let's keep rolling through so we get them all done. Number 25. Find the amount you would have. All right, I need a formula.
A to B to RT.
No.
No time to check.
That's the formula I need
You need that formula.
because it says compounded monthly. Sam, you? All right, here we go. What do I do with the 1200? That's the P. What do I do with the 3.1%? That's R, but it's 0.031. What goes in for the ends? Ends at 10.
12.
12. Why is N 12?
This is monthly.
Compounded monthly. That's exactly right. And T is 10 because T is 10 years. Time, 10 years. So we'll go ahead and multiply those together. And then this is one of those easy ones that you can just type in.
Yeah.
So 1200 parentheses, 1 plus 0.031 divided by 12, close parentheses, raised to the 1/20th. 1635.46. Oh, to the nearest dollar, that would be 1635. To the nearest dollar, nearest whole dollar.
Wait, so what's the R stand for again?
Interest rate.
Rate. Okay.
All right, 26. Find the growth constant for a strain of bacteria. Now stop right there. You need a formula. What formula are we going to use for a population problem? That's your perm. Find the growth constant for a strain of bacteria that grows from 154 to 912 in 3.5 hours. All right, what goes where?
Alrighty, so the
912 goes on the very left.
912 goes on the very left, he says. He's right.
Equals 154.
154 goes right here. That's right.
And then 3.5 is up top.
Along with the R, that's the unknown.
Yeah. And then you have to divide by 154.
So we divide by 154.
And then you have to turn that into.
I don't even do that. You can, as long as you don't round it off. What do we need to do? How are we going to get that R down? Got an L in it.
I just said that.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I thought you said you needed a decimal here or something. So LN 912, and you get my age. Everything goes, including the hearing. So this is what we have now. We LN both sides. So now we'll just take this guy right here, whatever he is, and divide him by 3.5. Will that give me my R?
Yeah.
It will. So here we go. LN 912. Oh.
So honestly, when you just put in the equation, you don't even need to do all the extra stuff.
Do whatever it takes to get the answer, which is 0.5082. So you should get 0.5082 as your answer. All right, 27 is the one that if you miss it, you will get made fun of because it is on the first year algebra exam. Here we go.
Easy. I'm not even gonna do that.
Write the equation of the line through those 2 points. Step 1.
8 minus 6.
First we find our slope, 8 minus 6.
4 minus 5.
It's -2.
So my slope is -2.
And then you pick a
Pick a point.
pick a point and plug in 6 for y equals -2 times 5 plus b.
He's doing y equals mx plus b. There are other options, but this is fine. This will always work. So 6 equals -2 times 5 plus b.
-10.
So it looks like b equals 16.
And you go back and you do y equals -2x plus 16.
Perfect.
sure.
That's my favorite problem.
I think so. Number 28, another easy problem if you think about it.
You do.
We start with the price of the item, which is 83.2. All right? Now there are 2 things happening to this price. So we're going to multiply by 2 numbers, right? Now the first thing that's happening is we have a 20% discount. So we multiply by 0.8. And for those of you that have forgotten, it's 1 minus 20%. 1 minus the discount. And then this one is going to be 1.07 because it's 1 plus the increase, right? Tax is an increase. And then we just type it in. Free response question, how easy is that?
Oh, is that easy?
It will be, I guarantee,
That's
promise.
money.
Same with
So
the,
71.22.
same with the, write the equation on the line, should be that easy?
Yep.
Hope there's no fractions.
Number 29.
More than 1/4.
How many gallons of an 8%, so this is gonna be one of those amount times percent,
Plus
amount times percent.
equals amount.
If you are paying attention now and not talking, you can't miss this problem. Trent,
Sorry.
now, amount times percent, amount times percent, amount times percent.
So X.
So I'm gonna go through and I have an 8% solution. Please remember that's 0.08, 8%. Must be added to 100 gallons of 90% solution to get a 65% solution. Now stop, listen. Every number from the problem is now there, right? This is X. How much? If you do this in an organized fashion, like I just did, you are going to have one empty spot in your equation. If that empty spot is here, it's number minus X. And by number, I mean this, the only number in the problem. If the empty spot is here, which is it is, it's number plus X. That never changes. If you miss it, you didn't prepare. Because it's done that way every time. Okay? So, then I just get my calculator out, start multiplying things. These numbers are pretty easy, actually. So I end up, let's see, with 25 equal to 0.57x. I did that in my head, could be wrong. Then I'll divide by 0.57. And x is 43.86. Is it gallons? I didn't pay attention. Was it gallons? Yeah. Okay. My gosh, you guys, there are so many gimmies on this test. You should all do well.
Yeah, if you remember the formulas.
That is the easiest formula to memorize.
Okay.
Good.
Number 30, we're almost done. We're almost done. Then we can go back and pick up some of the other ones.
What do you have to memorize?
Number 30 is a simplify problem.
The other one, you have to memorize what they're for.
All right, we did these at the beginning of the year and we just did them again in chapter 3. So here we go. Probably to get started, we should do what? Inside the parentheses, take care of it. So we've got a 4/3, nothing to do there but 4/3. Now, what about these guys right here? They're going up. But there's already 5 up there. 8 x's up there, x to the 8.
There's more on the bottom. There's not.
Now, I've got these, they're negative.
There's more Z's up top.
So they're coming down. So I'm gonna have y to the 9.
Yup.
These guys are going up. So I'm gonna have 8 z's on the top. That is not brain surgery. I'm just moving things around, right? Anything with a negative gets moved.
Oh.
Now I gotta square the whole thing.
Straight.
So I have a 16 and a 9. And then a what? X to the 16. Z to the 16. And Y to the 18. Done. Done, done. Very, very good.
Done.
Now the box.
Now the box.
The box is so easy.
You said it.
X minus 2x.
So here we go.
X minus 2x.
So we got a 20 by 16 piece of paper. We're gonna cut the corners out, fold up the flaps.
Oh, I remember this, 2x.
20 minus
So
2x.
we need to write the equation of the volume. This is a multi-part question. This is the last question on the exam.
16 by 2.
So volume
What?
is going to be
Yeah, it's the very end.
20 minus 2x,
Times
16 minus 2x,
times x.
times x.
I remember I had that on a test.
That never changes.
Never.
The only thing that's going to be different is the size of the paper. So I got a 20 and a 16. You might have a 12 and an 8 or a 15 and a 19. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
15 and a 19.
That's what your equation looks like every time. Every time.
Bruh.
Now, domain. Every time.
0.
The x is going to have to be between 0 and some other number. And the other number is always
The top.
The
No,
smallest?
it's not the top.
The smallest.
It's half of the smallest. So in this case, the smallest is 16. So this is going to be 8.
Those two you should get right.
Those are give me.
Now it says, okay, you're going to go to your calculator now and you're going to graph this thing.
This is the hard part.
This is not the hard
This is the
part.
hard part.
You need to set up your calculator. This is the window.
I'll take a picture of that.
The window of your calculator. And if you say this is hard, I don't know what to say to you because this right here is right here. So x min is, in this problem, is going to be 0 and x max is going to be 8.
Then what's Y min?
Y min is always 0.
And the max is
That
some random
never
number.
changes on a box problem. And Y max is a guess. So I'm going to say, well,
100.
let's start with 100. Somebody said we'll start with 100. I think it's way bigger than that, but I'll go with 100. So then I get my calculator out. I press window and put these numbers in for the respective things. Then I gotta put my equation that I wrote in. So I'm gonna put this in now. So I go to y equals, and I type that in with the parentheses. And press graph. Now this is what I thought would happen. I am ultimately looking for the maximum. And what I see is this. What does that tell me? Your 100 here isn't anywhere near big enough. So let's make that a 500. All right, we'll try 500. So all you have to do is go back to your window, make it a 500, and hit graph. That'll work. Because now what you see is this, right? We are looking for that point. So, second calc, go down to maximum, set your left bound and your right bound. We've been through this a zillion times. I'm not teaching it over again. Set your left bound and right bound. Set it in the middle, and that is 2.94, comma, 420.11. Now, what size corners should be cut out?
2.94.
2.94. This is your X, so this is the corners. This is your Y, so this is the volume. So if it says what size corners, which it says, then you're going to say 2.94. If it would happen to say what is the volume, then you'll put 420.11. they're all really good. What are you talking about? Okay. So again, now listen to me. Listen. I know we didn't do every single problem on there. Between yesterday and today we did. But if you want to hear me and watch me do more, then you have to come tomorrow night or watch the video. Right? So I will see some of you on.
What time does the thing start tomorrow?
I thought I saw clowns running into the office like 7:17.
That's just me though.
Lily,
Crazy.
can you turn that video off?
Yeah.
X,